Okay, hi, good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Awesome.
Yes, we can, Gabrielle.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so hi again, good evening. I am Gabrielle Simmons. I'm a law student here at UWI, and I will be your moderator for this evening. I just want to say thank you all for coming out, especially early. A lot of persons were early, so I just want to say thank you all for coming out, for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be here and to participate. Okay, so our speakers for this evening are Miss Janelle Morgan, as she spoke earlier, and Mr. Ethel Williams. They're both past students of the UWI. Miss Janelle Morgan is a program manager and appreciative advisor at Academic Support Unit. And Mr. Ethel Williams is an economist and founder of Economic Infinity Pro, which is a tutoring service. Excuse me, just give me 1 second. Sorry about that. As we can see, based on what I've just said, they're both very involved in making students' lives better and in the whole academic experience. And so this evening, they will be doing a session about how to study. They will be giving us tips and tricks about how to maximize our time, how to study effectively, and how to get adjusted to the whole online virtual testing. So please have your notepads ready and listen attentively as we receive valuable information that will help each and every one of us. Alrighty, so I will just get into it. So we will begin the discussion now with Miss Morgan and our other guest, Mr. Ethel Williams. Are they both on? I am seeing Miss Morgan, yes.
Present and correct. Present and correct. Good evening, everyone. Hello. Hoping everyone is fine.
Good evening, everyone. Hey, Janelle, I normally go before you, what are you doing?
Ethel, baby, baby self, Ethel, leave me alone.
All right.
Ladies before gentlemen. Go right ahead, Gabrielle. What do you have for us here? You're muted, love.
Okay, I'm so sorry. We just want to get straight into it. We'd like to know a little bit about tips and stuff. We want to know how can we study effectively, seeing that the new exam, we have the exam season coming up. We have a few questions that we'd like to ask you. Okay, so do you have any special methods for note-taking to ensure effective learning?
That's for me?
Sure.
We're just going generally. I think what I would want today is start off first by welcoming all the students, because we know that we're in the middle of exam time here now. I know mid-semesters are still going on for several of the students. So let me just commend those of you who are here first and foremost, and thank you for being here. With regards to note-taking, I want to first discuss the fact that a lot of things have changed in terms of how we're approaching how we even take notes. When students ask me how notes are even being taken, the first thing I even ask them is, do you even write versus type? Right? So note taking has changed in and of itself. Before we even get there, what I often ask students is, how do you even think of learning? Do you understand the difference between learning versus studying, if that's the conversation? And Ethel and I were coming from far. Ethel, you see him smiling there. Ethel was a part of my team and is now doing big things, is a superstar himself. So, I mean, note-taking is a very small part of it for me. For me, the bigger conversation is how students interpret and understand learning versus studying, and understand and how they can understand that there are a number of ways that you can go about approaching your own studies. You understand? So before we even get to note taking, I want us to first have a conversation with students and help them understand that there is a difference between learning and studying, and identify whether or not students have fully grasped that. Ethel, you have any say on that necessarily?
Yeah, just a quick one, because I know you have it covered, right? Of course, again, everyone, good evening. My name is Ethel Williams. I mean, Gabriel would have said Ethel, but I'm used to it. A lot of, difference. Yeah, it's okay. But yes, welcome everyone. I wasn't expecting so much people, I thought you would see about 10 or 15. The thing a little man. The thing me I come see 15, but we see 89 and counting, and I wasn't prepared for so much people. But I mean, note taking, like it's different for all of us, as Janiel would have said, do you write or do you type? It's very important now, given the atmosphere that we are operating in. We are still social distancing and learning online. So how do we take notes? Sometimes it really depends on what type of learner we are, right? Are we audio? Are we visual, or a combination of both? Well, for me, back in my days, in the 80s, 1983 to be exact, I was taking, I'm joking, I'm not that old. But I'm a combination of both. So what I do, I definitely, even if I take notes, right, copious notes at that, normally I have to like learn in class, firstly, because I had so much going on. We can jump into that a little more. But while I'm in class, I ensure that I learn, I understand. And I don't normally get stuff written from class, even this online thing, because the lecturer's moving fast. I don't know if it's a speed race. But yes, so I would go back, watch recordings and write. Sometimes I don't really write nothing. Honestly speaking, I don't write. I'm lazy at that in some sense. Some students are different, but I think for me, writing takes up time and I have so much doing. So what I do, I listen. I'm very much audio, and whatever I've written, I could have 2 line. I'll study that. I'll make them point, but I can't bother with the writing. But that works for me. So it might work differently for other persons. I know the females generally, they take some really excellent notes. I write pretty too, I'm like, we didn't find time for this. We want to find time. You get me? So I don't do that. And it worked for me. My friend tried it and he failed. So it didn't work for him. So you have to know, you have to be honest with yourself and make the notes how best you study. So that's my point.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that Ethel touched on that, which is again, that ladies and gentlemen, is the importance between understanding the difference between learning and studying, because Gabriel would have touched on note taking, which is immediately a study skill, right? Ethel is highlighting the difference between understanding how best you learn. And I know I'm seeing some students here who I would have interacted with, but even more important is whether or not you yourself know how best you learn. And I don't know if we can jump into that right now. I don't know how much time we have here, Gabriel. But for those of you who don't understand the difference, can we do that? Can we ask, are we allowed to do that? Drop it in the chat if you know what's the difference between learning and studying, if you will. Right? What do you understand learning to be as opposed to studying? Or let us know if there's a difference. Do you think there's a difference between learning and studying? Let us know, because this is a conversation that we'll constantly have to be having rather with students in order for them to be able to differentiate how they're approaching their own learning. That's a conversation that we need to have, and we see I'm not even seeing anything happening in the chat here. So let's move forward. But for learning is when you have, okay, here we go. Learning is understanding the concept. That's what Ansel is saying. All right, we'll see somebody say they don't understand. All right, that's pretty much it here. Let's let some people in. Learning is understanding the concepts and materials. All right, learning is obtaining new knowledge and concepts. while studying, I think, should be reinforcing what you learn. Learning is when you understand, and studying is retaining the info, while studying is swatting. Answer. Swatting is not a word that it's interesting. Learning is exploring new material, while studying is reviewing material you already have, but isn't study. All right. So this is why I like to ask students this. Learning, good people, and even if you have quick Google, learning, or should ask Etel. Etel, how you know you have learned something? How do you know you have learned material?
You know, that's an excellent question, and that's something we really did want to highlight to you know, Janelle, because there's a big difference between learning and getting good grades, which is tied to what you are going to, right? Because how do I know I learned something?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, when I move on to another topic, I can still reflect mentally on what I would have just studied and understand. And if I can't go through, like, you know, naturally with some level of understanding, then I know that, you know what, this exam, I'm just going to get good grades.
Mm.
So I was a quiz player, right? I was born for SWAT, Johnny. We SWAT hard, you know, because I SWAT from now till yesterday. So you know what that means. So I had that skill, right? So I would have known definitely what is swatting. You don't really understand the material, but you can regurgitate. You get me? So that's my take.
And that's fine. All right, so let's get into it. I like how Etel is honest, because the truth is a lot of students come into the higher education space and right across the board swatting. And somebody said it in the chat. Studying is swatting. I think what was said, right? But let's get into it. Learning, and I hope that this is a goal for everybody. The goal is to learn, and we're all learning every day, all day. We learn how to walk, we learn how to spread our bed, we learn how to cook, we're learning what kind of people we want around us. We can agree on that. We are all learning all day, every day, all right? In the academic space, however, learning is what we know we have learned something when we have grasped the full understanding of the subject, the course material, whatever it may be. And students would generally say they have learned the material when they can either explain it or they pass the exam, even though I don't really agree with that one necessarily, because you can SWAT and pass the exam, but you don't really grasp the material, right? But you need to know you have learned the material because you have fully understood it, or in our case, you are graduated and you are able to perform at the optimal level, or like Etel is now fully out there tutoring others. He understands the material and he knows it to a different level, right? You know and fully understand the material, right? Learning is occurring, or you have fully achieved it. That's what learning is, right? Studying, on the other hand, is whatever processes you are going to be following in order to achieve learning. Let me go again. Learning is the goal. Studying is whatever steps you are going to take in order to achieve learning. So there is no one way to study. A number of students would have come into UWI and they hear you must read for your degree. You know, that's the only way you're going to get it. You know, in this information age, there are so many ways for you to grasp knowledge on the subject, right? We're talking about YouTube. We're talking about text-to-speech apps. Etel would have touched on the fact that he's an auditory learner. There are a number of ways for you to do it. Those are the study skills that you're going to engage in for you to facilitate your own learning. So we don't just necessarily, yes, the lecturers are great, right? Yes, the lectures are important. Yes, the textbooks are great, but you need to know how best you learn in order for you to engage in study skills that will facilitate your own learning. I hope I'm making sense, and please let me know if it's not making sense. You tell us, sound like I'm making sense?
Yes, man, you're perfect.
We're trying to get there. I don't think it's perfect, but we want to get there. So the goal is learning, and any steps we are taking in order to facilitate that learning, that's the study skill. That's where we're at now. All right. So Etel would have touched on learning styles and strengths, right? I'm dropping in the chat here because maybe not everybody knows what their strengths are in the learning styles. Maybe you don't even know what the learning styles are. That's fine. I've dropped in the chat a learning style assessment. We've been doing that on campus right across the board. If it's your first time doing it, that's absolutely fine. You know, even if you've done it before, please go ahead and do it again to kind of remind yourself of the strengths in a different learning style. And for those of you who are on YouTube, you can go to educationplanner.org, go to students, go to self-assessments, right? And then you're just going to do the learning style assessment there, right? Etel has, he touched on the different learning styles there earlier, right? Etel, you want to probably share what some of your approaches were, given your I think you touched on it earlier, given your auditory strengths.
Yeah. I'm wondering, Gabriel, it's okay for us to go on this tangent, right? And just
Yes, that's fine. You can go ahead. There are other questions being placed in the chat, but after you're finished, I will just proceed with the questions.
Okay.
Yeah, man, excellent. So we can just, go ahead and then we'll finish any questions. So yes, Janelle. So definitely, I mean, there are a lot of things because, all right, when I was attending the University of the West Indies, I was doing a lot of things. One, I was an ASU tutor, of course, working with Janelle. Janelle was my boss, ensure some tutor the youths. I was an econ tutor, separate. I was postgraduate president. I was a quiz coach at St. George's College. I was a research assistant. I was a short-term contractor at the World Bank IFC. So I was doing a lot of things. Plus me have school with them bag of subject. So I had to master the craft of one, studying, two, understanding, right? So anytime I enter the classroom, guys, I definitely have to learn, because after I leave the classroom, I don't have any time to really touch back on certain things, unless it's the weekend. So what I do in understanding what type of learner I am, I take notes accordingly, right? And then I strategize my time. So for example, if I know exam is a month away, I'm doing 6 courses, 7 courses, 5 courses. So I have to be smart. Is it that 1 month, 4 weeks that? So is either I'll give a course 1 week each, that not gonna work because it's gonna roll over. So you have to then strategize and say, all right, 3 days. Now you have to be honest with yourself. You know you can't write and you're going to be critical reading and writing 2 days to study. Yeah, no problem. You know you can't calculate letters, because that would do you will calculate letters. I've never seen a number all long, right? You can't calculate letters and you give maths 3 days. So you have to be honest with yourself and make sure so you allot the time accordingly, right? So I did that. Then I say, what hours of the day? I kind of go on a tangent, Johnny, but it cool. All right. So what hours of the day? All right, good. What hours of the day am I most efficient? Honest again. Is it in the mornings? Am I a night owl? A person like that is when the sun is hot and I beat. So for me, I am night plus morning. So guess what? I roll from night, go straight back till morning. That's me. I'm a stay up. Right now, I wouldn't advise you guys to do that, because right now, I get the debris of that and it mash me up wicked. You see me? So I don't advise you guys to do that. But you have to know what time of the day and make sure you get rest, because I realize when I do all those all-nighters and don't get enough rest, it never makes no sense me do an all-nighter. It just wastes a couple of days because I have to recover. So you have to be prudent, guys. No matter go burn all night and put up your status and you snap, yeah, burning all night, I just feel hype and you look more you mash up. Me used to get me guilty of that. Mash up, you see me? So I use that time of the day and strategize. Then what do I do? So I have to take regular breaks. So whenever I go through something, and I know that it takes me some time to study Janelle, students, streaming, you have to take a walk and make it soak in. Make it soak. So me I walk go a stall and buy one corn dog and eat a couple of juice and all dingo and just chill. walk around the UE. Anybody around me don't rob me, around me run gone. Nice time, you see me? Nobody not rob me. But yeah, come big and thick, you see, so I'm not risk it. So yeah, and then we just go back and deal with it. So you have to take breaks and you have to be disciplined with the breaks. Don't take a break and say, oh no, me I reward myself because I study hard. I want to reward yourself. You still have a couple more pages to go through. Be disciplined and go back to the book. How you think I fear it in you have to read and study for degree. So you discipline yourself, and you go back to the library and you do your thing and you're back at it. People, it's a bit difficult, but guess what? At the end of the day, a night. So the next thing what I do now, what else I do? Is either you go study in groups or you study solo. Very important. Watch this now, people. Some things you have to study in a group because you never understand it. So you have to piggyback on some people and go in there in a group and I say, oh yeah, true, because me say that, yeah, I just reiterate what them did say because you don't understand, but you just reiterate. You see me tell I say, yeah, I contribute, you know him thing. You see me? Never know nothing. See, so I just learn that. So in a group, me get that and then go solo and cement it. People, you have to do that. That's how we master the thing. You see me? I mean, I'm not going to give you a first class type of advice to get a first class degree because me did get what? 3.59 on that. But I get punished for, you know, all of the other stuff that they are doing, distract me. Like women and party and them something. Them they are distraction. Females focus, you have to focus. You see me? And the guys, them know what them are do, so focus. All right, watch it. So we do that. See? And then, you know, say, we'll go back solo and study. Then here comes the exam. You're nervous. Who normally nervous when it's exam time? Who that? You know, you're nervous in an exam, you say, yo, I really go. Yeah, yo, no matter how much you prepare, you're nervous. You're going like you're well confident about the thing, you know, you just a shake. One here, brother. We are shake so far, originally in a rush. I want to look at exam, you know? All right, people. Oh, we get over that. You don't. You don't. Why? This is a good thing. Because if you're never nervous, that means you're not care about school, brother. So me always nervous. And when I start the exam and get in the groove and I start bounce and I go through, you see me and do my thing. Yeah, it gone wet. But guess when it come back? When we look on the time and them say 20 minutes, I may have 7 questions left. And there's a paper too. Me in trouble. I hurt my belly start hurt me. I got you. So you have to time yourself, people. You have to time yourself. Don't bother swing too comfortably in the thing and settle down and say, yo, me have it all the time in the world. You go on, belly bottom hurt, you know that. We are kill, we are about you, we are hurt. You see me? So that's how you deal with it. I just mash up a thing and I use that. But number one, I should have said first, Daniel, you have to definitely put God first. It make me confident all the while. God, it's not a cliche. You pray, and in prayer you believe in it, you're going on the thing and you shut it up. That's how we deal with it. Daniel, over to you.
Ethel, I'm appreciating you as always, Ethel. Well, you made some factual points, and I love how the students can relate to you. You know, I finished university a good few years ago. You see, I'm older, but not old people. Just saying, but it's true. And the funny thing is, all of what you're sharing, the students should be. I hope they're agreeing. They're agreeing with you, so they can relate, right? But what I want to zone in on is the fact that all that you would have related to, particularly in how you are approaching or how you approach, because you are a graduate twice removed now, how you approach your studies. All of those are different strategies that can be linked to learning styles and strengths. Remember, we started out with that, right, folks? And I think it's important that we reinforce that point, right? Those of you who would have either done the learning style assessments earlier, I want you to keep that in mind, right? Ita would have pointed out a number of things, right? Including how he would have had to stay up late at night. All of those are study skills as well, believe it or not. And we're going to be going into a study skills checklist later on. Hold on, I should check it. Gabriel, how you stay? Because Ethel did a check-in with you. You need us to pause for a second there?
I can just ask you one question that was posted in the chat. Someone asked, how do we deal with stress after not doing so good in a midterm exam?
All right. You want that for Etel or for me?
I guess you
Etel?
can go ahead.
I think Etel should take that one. Etel. All right.
Sorry about
Go
that.
ahead.
Never hear the question. Never hear it.
The question was, how do we deal with stress after not doing so good in a midterm exam?
Oh, yeah. Oh, you deal with the stress. Remember, I have to be frank, very frank. Firstly, you just stress out yourself, but you don't stress for too long. It's just like when you go in a relationship and you broke up, when you broke up and you stress and you cry and weak. You don't cry for long. You don't have the time. So, all right, get over it. Me never do good, but guess what? In the finals, me I go deal with it. And you get that confidence boost at it. And me never do a research on it yet, but me believes that the persons them are normally like ace the exam. I mean, they might not pass the mid-semester well, but them they still in the range to get the A or you know deal with it. And them person they normally come back with a fire and burn up the whole of the exam room and you see fire truck come and spray. So yeah, you have to just deal with it, but not too long.
And that's an excellent question, Gabriel. And lots of students, again, with is either one, the fear of failure, or two, the fear of the repercussions of failure, right? Because some students, who don't necessarily mind the failure themselves is what other people are going to say because, oh my gosh, they're supposed to be doing wonderful things, or the parents or whoever is going to say X and Y and Z, right? What Etel said is factual facts, right? You need to come back with the file. What have I learned? All of this is learning, we're all learning life lessons here. I failed a course, I failed a mid-semester. What did I not do wrong? Let me go and get some feedback from the lecturer or the tutor. Let me discuss with some peers. What did they do differently that I can approach in a different way so that I can grasp a different approach as to how I'm going to do another course assignment, how I'm going to approach the end of semester exam. What we need to do is focus on changing our mindsets. Right? It's a very important thing. And I know a lot of us have been hearing this. I don't know how long. I'm certainly hearing it a lot over the last couple of years, particularly with the pandemic, we're hearing pivots and all of these different things. But it's a very important thing to look at. This fear of failure, and hearing that, we don't want to be making any mistakes, as opposed to us saying, what am I learning from this and how can I shift things around a little bit in order for me to change my grade, change my transcript, change the quality of my degree. That's something that we need to be looking on. Again, with the emphasis on learning as opposed to swatting so I can get a better grade. I don't know how many times I can say this to students. A lot of students tend to focus on the exam, right? And how am I going to get the best grade here? And I often say to students, yes, I understand that you want an A. Absolutely want to get a first class honors and all of that, but you can SWOT and get an A, and then when you leave, you are unable to perform in the work setting. You are unable to be an entrepreneur. You're unable to be the best, whatever degree whatever area it is you're wanting to pursue, right? Because you would have SWOTted, right? You sat down and you SWOT, and you therefore you haven't grasped the real understanding that you haven't learned the material. You all have paid for your degrees, whether through SLB, family members, whatever it may be. You are paying for it literally with your time, your energy, the physical effort that you're putting in. Why not change the mental focus and focus on better grasping and understanding and focus on the learning and putting in place strategies that will help you be your best self, literally. Talk to me now tell me if I'm making sense. Your best self, literally, so that you are alert in class, you are studying better. So I'm an auditory learner. So instead of trying to sit down and read several lectures, I'm going to zone in on the fact that I'm an auditory learner, and I'm going to key in on listening to lectures a little bit better. I'm going to have conversations with my classmates that are intentional about their learning. Because we're not going to talk with people who are foolish and idling with their time. We're going to be intentional about our learning, because the goal is learning, and the studying is whatever methods I'm putting in place to get here. Talk to me now. The goal is learning, and I'm studying in whatever way I can to get to this goal. Because when we leave university, The ultimate goal is whatever your goals are, to make money, to be an entrepreneur, whatever that's on you, right? So I am a visual learner. Maybe I need to be reading more. Maybe I need to be paying attention to those PowerPoint slides. Maybe I need to be highlighting. That's where like the note-taking would come in, Gabriel. And I kind of delayed the note-taking because note-taking varies depending on the learning styles. An auditory learner with note-taking might be like, okay, this is the lecture, which the lectures are now recorded. Note-taking in auditory mode might be like, okay, it's like when you're watching a movie, and like for me, I like Thor or Captain America in Avengers. I know when Endgame coming on exactly which part when I'm rewatching it on Disney Plus, where I want to fast forward to watch a certain scene. You understand what I'm saying too? When you're rewatching your lecture, you know that 40 minutes in, I need to go to this part because these 20 minutes are essential. That's a note. When I'm going to be watching this YouTube video with content that's related, you note that time. When I'm watching a TikTok video or an Instagram video, I'm taking a note because this person has content that's related to, you see where I'm going with this? These are notes that you're taking. Visual learners, of course, you have your PowerPoint slides. The visual learners, you're going to have your textbooks. The visual learners are going to be having all kinds of different highlighters, and it varies. The tactile persons, then it varies again because some of you might not be in like labs or so on, but the tactile person might be drawing all kind of diagrams and are going to have all the different posters and stuff up in the room and all. That's you taking notes. Am I making sense, people? There is no one way to do anything. There is absolutely no one way to do anything. You need to be intentional about how you go about your studying because your goal is to get here. I wish I had like a post. I should have to think about that today. Your goal is the learning, whatever you need to do to get your information, whatever study approaches you're going to take, that's what you're doing over here to get to this goal. Right? So you would have done, well, if you haven't, I'm recommending it again, do the learning style assessment. Before we leave here today, I'm going to leave a study skills check for you so you can get an idea of some strategies. Again, it's just an indicator. You need to be intentional. And if you don't have an idea or you need some guidance, I'm certainly here to facilitate you in that way as well, because some people need a little bit of help. You know, you might be saying to a friend, you read, we have a conversation, but that's not working for me. That's fine because you are you and your friend is a different individual. Gabriel Ethel did this. Ethel is not Joshua McCoy answer. You understand what I'm saying? You need to identify what works for you because your goals are different, your brain functions differently. There's a whole lot of different things coming into play. Also, Gabriel, this is a whole conversation. I feel like Ethel, forgive me. Let's also keep in mind, and this is something that has been reinforced even more with this pandemic, how you study is affected by what is going on in the world. It's affected by what is going on at home. And I know this because I'm probably feeling it more and more each day. How you study is affected by your physical space, how you study is affected by the tools you have. You know this, but I'm just reminding you. So please be kind to yourselves, gentle people. Don't feel bad if you are not necessarily putting out what you feel is your best work, when the reality is what you have going on around you is not the best or what you would deem the best, right? So if you are not in the best space mentally, if you don't have the best internet, if JPS keep cutting off your light and the plan that you had for the day was to put in 2 or 3 hours on the lecture notes, but all of that is your reality. So you're just going to try and flip the script as best you can, or you might need to lie down and bawl a little bit because you're stressed right out. You understand? That is your reality, and you are absolutely allowed to feel all your feelings and say, this is not right with the world. I don't like that I live in a developing country and that JPS is stressing me right out. So I need to feel my emotions. That's all right, right? I think I see a hand here. Is that for me or for Gab? That's you, Gabriel?
No, there's a hand, Sanique Smith, you can go ahead.
You know, I totally forgot. But for me, I think I'm more of a combination of everything as it relates to my learning style, because it all depends on the subject area itself. So when I just started with the whole online learning thing, it was a complete struggle for me. Even though I think that I'm still struggling, but I have adjusted way better. So I did some courses last year. I basically failed them. I did I did it in the summer again, and I failed them again. And I said to myself in September, look here, you have to go revamp everything what you normally do, because this this not working. And the whole thing with it is that yes, the lecturers were teaching and they were online and they were doing the thing, but I was just not getting anything at all. So what I basically had to do is that I had to, I am basically teaching myself the courses right now. So even though I might be going to the classes, I am the one that is teaching myself, because yeah, I see the lecturer saying certain things, but then I teach myself it. And then when I go to class, if there are a few things I need to understand, then I will say, Miss so and so, I'm not understanding that. But in the same breath, what I did not, what one of the error I did not do last year was that I did not say to the lecturer, Miss, I don't understand, because what? Many times we as students, somebody don't understand something, we tend to make a mockery of them and let them feel lesser than themselves. So far often students don't understand something, but because the fear of somebody laughing at them, they will not say, I'm not understanding what you're saying. So in the long run, they end up failing the course. And I think that was what happened to me last year. But I see myself saying that giving you my money this year. So my aim is to pass those courses.
Which is right. Which is right. And I commend you, Sunny, first and foremost for choosing and being intentional about coming back again, because that's exactly what you should do. So
But you know, initially, Janelle, I really thought of, let me tell you, I literally went to the coordinator for the course, because every other course, I am doing very well at them. I don't have an issue. But my ear, like the foundation courses, you have to the educational courses, those are like baby for me. I don't have to study for me to pass those courses. But then when it come on to my area of specialization, that was where the issue was. So I went to the coordinator over the summer break, and I said to her, Miss, I'm thinking of changing. But then she spoke to me, and then my son said something to me one day. He said, Mommy, if you start something, make sure that you finish it. And and I said to myself, and I said, look here, if I am going to live by example, because these are things that I say to my son. So I said to myself, I have to live by example. So if I start this course, even if it takes me 100 years to finish it, I am going to finish it. Because at the end of the day, I don't want my son to grow up thinking that if certain things happen in life and if there's a few challenges, he's supposed to throw in the bucket and give up.
You're right. So, you're right. And also, Sanique, you also have every right to ask for feedback. You see how you mentioned earlier that you have a fear that people are going to not want to respond. As a student, you have the right to ask for feedback from lecturers, tutors, administrators. That is your right. That is your right. So if you're not getting that, yeah, that's why you have course representatives. That's why you have faculty representatives. That's why you have guild. See ETEL there? Where ETEL? Let me go. We have so many students here. You have representatives and you also have a voice. Write a letter and ask for them to give you feedback. That you
You see
absolutely
the
have
thing?
that right.
I
understand?
did that, Janelle, and the response was this because I literally was not getting what was being taught. And the response was this: Sanique, you just need to read more. And this was always my response. How can I be reading something and read more of something if I am not understanding it? And then the response is like, when you come to UWI, you read for your degree. So
all right, so you and I will have a chat. I'm very, very sorry that you had that challenge. That shouldn't have been the case. Not everybody is supposed to be like that. Unfortunately, I have had situations like that where I hear students sharing that. That shouldn't be the case. But certainly you can talk to me. We can see how we can identify a way forward for you. All right, and see if we can switch things up a bit. But as you say, it's just probably a 1-2 course. We can see if we can switch things up a bit for you and identify a path that can work out for you. All right?
oh boy.
Sounds all right?
That's fine.
All right, love. Gabrielle.
There's another hand raised or was raised.
Sorry.
Down, Lishan. I'm not sure if the person still wants to go ahead. Or Lishan, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Your mic is open, but we're not hearing you.
You hear me?
No.
Breaking up there.
You hear me?
You're breaking up a bit.
You hear me now?
Go ahead,
Are you
yeah.
hearing me now?
Yes.
Oh yes. So I was gonna say that actually for me, I think online is really the best thing because well I work, so if I'm not able to attend the lectures, I just watch the recordings and go over the tutorials and prepare for tutorials and all that. So I think it's the best thing. So I actually adapt very well to online teaching.
That's good.
Yeah, so I think I'm doing much better now with the online because then I have, if I forgot, if I don't remember something, I just go straight back to the recording and remind myself. So I think it has actually worked in my favor.
I'm happy to hear that, Lishan. That's absolutely wonderful. That sounds like you're managing yourself a whole lot better. Commendations to you. To Georgina there, the pros and cons. I agree with you. Ashley says she can't relate. I agree with you. Pros and cons, indeed. Indeed. I have a question here. What advice would I give to students that have to readjust the face-to-face exams? Is that a concern for many people? I thought y'all would be excited to come back for face-to-face exams, man. Oh, y'all should be excited to come out of the house and do the face-to-face exam. Is that a concern? Let me see by raise a hand. Is that a concern that most of you have here? You're a little nervous about the face-to-face exams? One person is a concern. No, we aren't. What is the concern with that? I'm a little curious. What's the concern with face-to-face exam?
Miss Morgan, when you're doing
Go ahead.
exams online, you have a greater time period and flexibility to get the assignment done. And when you're in face-to-face, you have to do it within the set period, within the office, within the assembly hall. Some students have not been selected for face-to-face exam, but for the purposes of those who are like watching on YouTube or for those who are going into their second year and has never experienced what the tent is like and having Heslop at the front of the room saying 5 minutes to go. What tips would you give to those students? I know Etel touched on it earlier about stress management.
I know, is anybody remember Heslop at the front of the room? You know, who is that speaking? As a real UWI student, 5 minutes to go indeed. So I want it never done. Sorry, I'm just looking at the responses here. Getting sick, okay. Yeah, that was an experience indeed. Okay, I think like what you were saying there, the biggest concern that I've been hearing from you is the time, right? For me, it's not, I wouldn't want you to focus so much on the time. Again, Etel touched on it, right? You have to look at how best you are going to be, one, grasping the questions and understanding the material, especially since you would also have had some experience in some courses. I think most of you would also be practicing like questions and so on. So you have an idea as to how the papers would be run, right? Get the opportunity, if you have not yet, to have contact with virtual office hours with some of your lecturers and tutors, so that you have an idea, if you have not done so yet, as to what time you're going to need, what the paper is going to look like, if you have not done that as yet, so that you are mentally prepared for what is going to look like. Please, that's something that students were doing years before. You understand what I'm saying to you? The difference with it being done at home, and I understand this, even though I haven't been doing any exams in the pandemic, so maybe it's unfair to say I understand it, but just going with what students are saying, in the comfort of your home, it's very different, right? But if you have a better understanding and you can prepare yourself to say, okay, I'm going to have probably 20 minutes to do this, I'm going to have another 15 minutes, you are better prepared to go in and time yourself, right? As opposed to saying I'm going to have a whole day, or however the exams were done, right? There you go, kind of. The comfort is the problem. The comfort is the problem, right? And that's not what exams are supposed to be like. There is an argument that assessments can be done differently, but let's be real, that's not what it should be like in this setting. And the quality of your degree, hello, please, I touched on it earlier, the quality of your degree is something we want to be concerned about as well. Remember, that is something that you want to be able to say, all right, I did this test, the grade that I am getting has been properly assessed, right? So we know that there is no concern. I think many persons will be more comfortable with face-to-face exams if we had face. I agree with that. This is Catheriana. I hope I'm getting the pronunciation of it. I agree with that. 100% agree with you there. So Catheriana is saying, I think many persons would be more comfortable with face-to-face exams if we had face-to-face classes. I would definitely agree with you there. All right.
Yeah. And to add to that, I mean, that's a really good point, because, you know, if they were learning face-to-face, then they would have get acclimatized to the, you know, face-to-face exam. But I'm not sure how the online exams go. When I was lecturing at UWI, I normally give them multiple choice because I want the easy way out. So then just click something on the computer, mark it. But I don't know how the paper two normally go. In my time, we did leave after that. You get me? But I get to understand that. What about, do they have like cameras? You have to turn on a camera and you get a couple of days to do the exam and turn it in. How that work? It's like an assignment. I'm not sure, you know.
I don't know if anybody in the student wants to share what's
yeah.
Doesn't like the online exam, and I don't know if they want to share.
I'm pretty sure not for all faculties, but I know for some faculties you have to turn on your camera. Because I've heard of like students in engineering, students in sci-tech, when they're doing exams, they have to turn on cameras, but not for all faculties for sure.
Okay.
Well, some of them proctor. Okay. Well, in that case, guys, like some people adapt. Naturally, human beings, we tend to not adapt to change. We don't like change. We like to stick to the comfort. But I know there were persons prior, at the early start of the pandemic, they were saying, yo, we can't bother with this online thing, you know, what about face-to-face? And then them get comfortable now and say, well, them go with this face-to-face thing. Yo, easy, online the thing that, you get me? So what I would say is try your best. Not everyone can do it, but try to acclimatize to change. Like readily set your mind, say, all right, guess what? This is it, because everything starts up here. So this is very powerful. I get to understand that during my time, even the master's program, the mind is powerful. Whenever you set it towards certain thing, you get it done. But if you turn your mind off from it, then I just do that. You're not gonna deal with it. And that you know some people, them obstinate, them way there, you have some mindset, it not change, boom. No, free your mind, open to the change. The psychology of it is very important. You know, I see a question when you want to touch to. There was someone asked, we up in a chat but after 6 them time. They asked, like, what if them have back-to-back exam? How them prepare? And then somebody asked, look, exam must be next month. Is it too late, Janelle, to apply what you are telling them? I mean, I can jump on that one, but
Go again, no. Right, I missed the first part. It's too late to apply what?
The question said,
you know, yeah, go ahead, Gabriel.
seeing as exams are right around the corner, is it too late to start this concept of learning and studying now?
Oh no, absolutely. As a matter of fact, now would be the best time to switch it off. Now would be the best time. The best time would be at the beginning, where you're like, okay, now I'm getting all of this information, but now where's my calendar? Looking at what, 3 or so weeks before exam. Now is when you want to be like, how can I switch things up? You jump on it now. So you do the learning style assessment. How am I going to use my time? Instead, remember, Ethel touched on it. We're not going to be an auditory learner. I'm going to spend my time using my time rather trying to read everything when I'm primarily an auditory learner, right? If I'm a combination, let's say you're 35, right? I can mix up 3 hours and switch up a combination of approach of study strategies, as opposed to trying to sit down for 3 hours trying to read when I am primarily an auditory, or I'm a mixture of auditory and visual. We'll have to see how we can approach it based on our strengths, right? That's where we're going with it. It's never too late. It's never, if you have 1 hour before the exam, and please don't wait till an hour before the exam. What's the best way for me to grasp some information? For me, I always knew 2 hours before the exam, right? I'm primarily an auditory learner. It would have been me and Ethel sitting down and having a conversation. What do you think about this topic, right? Go ahead, Ethel.
All right, so if we are gonna try to be practical now, let me see if I can go into some practical advice when I can apply, when me use and it work. So if exam are next month, right? How many courses are you doing? How much course you not do? Firstly, you need to know that. Some persons are do 5, 6, we know over science and tech, we don't want to do all 8 courses, we know no roughs over it, but no tough. But the thing is, we don't want to understand how much courses they are doing. No, it's November, it's the 2nd week of November. If exams start, well, Gabriel, give me some cue. When exams start? First week December, 2nd week?
I know most exams start in the 1st week of December, but you have some finals who do like mid-semester starting from around like the last week of November.
Last week of November, December 8. Them, all right, watch this now, December. All right, so in December, so practically about a month. Let's be rough. You know, me I go up on the board and do some maths, but I choose me just wear a shorts because I want, that's the pro of, them interview here, you can do the shirt, but you do it out of our brain. Watch this now, people. So we have a month and we have 7 exams. Watch this. If you have 7 exams and you never start yet, you're in a trouble, but you're not hopeless. But if you have 5 exams, that are normally the average, you're good. We're still on track. But if you have 7 or 8, you're in a trouble, but hopeless. What you going to do now? You're going to focus on the courses now. You definitely know so them they hard. 3 of the 5 or the 6 or the 7, them normally on average. 3 of them wicked, like sitting them stats. Oh, what is so stats for students are fail. So no worry on yourself. Give me 2 more years, I'm going to start teach it at the university level. Right now, I focus on Cape and CSEC, but we are going to jump in a UE market and take with them students. But yeah, so the stats, you have to point that out. The quick reading and writing, the writing course, what else? So you find the courses, them we are trouble. Here we are going to do now. And them they have to take on first. So you're going to give them 3 days. 3 days. On the first day, you assess your rate of studying and how you are grasp the information. That's an assessment day out of the 3. People come on, you have to be practical right now. See it? I'm tired of daily course. Oh God. You watch this now, one of them days, I'm going to see me can organize and do and look at things for you. Because I'm good youth, But that's another story. But watch this. So you say, all right, assessment day, first day. How fast may I grasp this? All right. Boy, this look like it'll take me 9 hours to get through 5 pages or get through a concept. From there, so guys, watch this now. From there, so you go pace yourself and say, this definitely I don't want 4 days. That left back, how much days? You see that? Then I remember the time frame, 1 month, 4 weeks, and 3 days, 2 days on average. Then you do that, you look on the next course and say another 4. So you left the rest of courses now and give them the least amount of time. Because you now have to be confident, say you have 2 days to do them or 3 days. Zane, remember I know people who have several courses, I only may try to fit in a schedule because we don't know hopeless, but we in a trouble. Zane, so now do that now, guys. So it's very important when you study the material, you look at yourself and say, what is my rate of knowledge processing, of studying? You do that, you have to be smart, and that me do. Remember, me have 1 million odd thing I do. So when me take up my econometrics book, that I want wicked course, macro, micro, all of them something the maths. You see me? Peer, no for. Some of us now and say, oh, so you bad, you easy, you wicked. All right, boom, boom. I'm just comfortable and deal with the thing. So people, just assess and fit it in the time. And you have to be honest. If you're not honest, if you feel yourself not honest, just tell yourself, say, yeah, me not trouble. Me not trouble. You're hopeless from this, but you're never hopeless when you're fitting the thing and be honest to yourself. Don't lie. Don't lie. Me lie in a master's program. One course alone never fail in my life. One course in a master's program. You see? I'm only fail by 1%. But here why I fail? Me lie to myself. Me lie to myself and tell myself, say, I can do this in this time. After I mid-semester mash me up, me still go back. Zane, and I take away my distinction. Look how me I cry now. I get the distinction. But watch them. Don't make the thing take, because watching we have one shot at this. It's either first class, second class, or we pass. But guess what? Whether the degree, right? When you get employed, when you have your business, then they ask why your degree. Zine, but make sure so you get it done. Because we hope springs eternal in the human breast. With Christ, we can get it done. That's my input. Hope it helps.
Thank you so much, and I'm glad you covered all of that because I'm, as you had mentioned earlier, someone asked in the chat, how should I prepare for back-to-back exams? And I think all that you said a while ago would have covered that. Another question that I have would be, which I think is a very important question here. What sort of time management tips would you suggest for those who are studying who might be less organized? Because you know, you have students who are very organized when it comes on to studying, and then you have persons who struggle. So what are some management tips that you would give to students? And
Johnny, I want to go first? Yeah, man.
Well, I think Ita just touched on it. You really want to kind of assess the situation, assess the courses, assess the course content and what you need to review. You understand how I usually go about it with students. And again, Ita touched on it. Look at the courses first that you feel, how I ask, the course that you feel you're going to be failing, right? And then you also need to be realistic with what else it is that you have to be dealing with. I constantly say to students, let's not act like you're only a student, right? A lot of students, they sit down and they're like, we only have to sit down and focus on the classes. So when you design like a study schedule, you know, you're attempting to be organized and you sit down and you create that, but then we forget that we have a number of other things going on. You're a student, but you're also an individual. So we want to be as balanced as possible. So where you may not be organized is by saying, okay, I have all of these things to do and you forget. So my role as an advisor is to sit down and say, all right, how can we be realistic with the number of things you have to do? So do you have to, I don't know, you have to cook and clean for everybody at home. You have to probably be assisting your siblings. Whatever it is that you have to do, we need to be realistic with that. And then plug in the number of things that you have to do while also being realistic about how much time you have and then maximizing on that, right? So the issue of being organized isn't so much the concern for me as it is about being realistic about what else it is you have going on, because students right now with everything they have happening, that's the bigger concern. We have students who are so overwhelmed with a number of things happening. So it's not so much that they're not organized, it is that they're overwhelmed. So we need to be a little more realistic with them and say, okay, with everything you have going on, how can we maximize the time that you do have, and then allow you to be a little bit more efficient with that time by zoning in on how you can maximize that time using your different learning styles and strengths and employing study strategies in that time that will allow you to be your best self and zoning on points that you are not as au fait with, if you will, at that point in time. All right, so I don't want us to focus on I'm disorganized. So all of us have a lot of things going on. How are we going to maximize with everything we have going on?
Thank you so much. And I would just like to include, I know you had posted some links to the website before. If it's okay, if you don't mind just reposting them, because I know persons are, rejoining and coming in again.
Oh, sure. That posted the education, yeah, the learning style assessment, and let me put back in it the study skills check. I dropped that one back in there. The study skills check for students. Yeah, no problem with you sharing that one again.
Okay, thank you so much. There's another question from Sharon Gilborn on YouTube, who asks, what tips do you have for those who have to work and manage their time with studying?
So again, what was her name, Cheryl, you said? Hi,
Sharon Gilborn.
All right, so it will go back again to you being realistic with the little time, and I'm using it because if you're working and studying, I'm pretty sure you have a little bit of time. With us utilizing the little time that you have to the best of our ability, right? So in a session with me, we're going to say, okay, if you have 2 hours out of your day, right, in an average day, how can we maximize that? And then we might have to say, oh, we can probably use some time on your weekend and so on. And we're going to zone in. Remember how ETEL had said, like, what course we're falling a little bit behind on and so on. We don't want to have you studying a course or studying content that you are well versed in. We want to get you focusing on a course that you're a little bit behind on and maximizing that time. And then when you feel like you're a little bit ahead, that's when we can go and review the material, right, in the free time. And we're going to look at, again, in those times, zoning in on the strengths that you have with the learning. So if you do the assessment and you are, let me pick on you as a tactile learner, how can we use those tactile skills or a combination of all the learning styles in that 2-hour period on a Tuesday evening when you only have that block of time, as opposed to on a weekend where you have probably 4 or 5 hours, and we can combine different things. So 1 hour we're using an auditory skill, another 2 hours we're going to use a combination. That's the kind of mindset. We're going to be intentional about the time you do have, as opposed to stressing you out or adding the stress by trying to plug in all these different times with everything else you have. Because the reality is you have to work, and you have to study, and all of those things need to align in order for you to be your best self. We're not trying to overwhelm you. If necessary, and this is a recommendation I always tell students, don't feel bad about taking the opportunity to lessen your course load and lengthen your time at the university so that you are getting the best grades. Nothing is wrong with that. You might take a little bit longer to get your degree, but you're still getting your degree, right? We have students, ETEL said it again, SciTech students who, and even students in SOCI and humanities who will take on 6-7 courses because you want to graduate with your friends or in a certain amount of time, and then you're fully stressing yourself out. It's the same degree if you stay another year, another semester. And as a matter of fact, you might do that and get a better quality degree because you would have lessened your course load and focus on the best, putting your best feet forward with a shorter course load and feeling a little bit lighter. Nothing is wrong with that. All right. Oh, I know that's SciTech struggles for you. Sorry, Ita, go ahead.
Yeah, but I can attest to that. I'm glad you said that to me because I never remember mine, guys. I took 4.5 years to get a 3-year degree. See? So nothing wrong with the time. You see me? You have to be, that's what I'm telling you, you have to be honest with yourself. Well, I was doing a double major, econ and accounts, double. You get me? So I had to do extra courses. But at the same time, now I do an extra semester, and an extra year, just to ensure I have things intact. Me have my friends them who are go well left me and say, no man, me can manage it, but you have to be a realist. You have to be real and say, guess what? I got extend it thing and get this going. Right? So you don't have to rush. I'm going to add to one more thing. Like, I'm really proud of people like those students who actually work and study. It's not easy, you know. It's very difficult. And but here are the thing now, Janet. I had a couple of friends, well, who work and study, come your way, and then get them first class. And I have a couple of friends who don't work, you see me, but study, and then get the second class, but then still get a degree. But when me I try say, why? Like when somebody go to work, you know, and I tell you from experience, and your brain, especially when you have to use up a human capital, mostly your brain power, you're tired when you come home, you just want to sleep. But guess what? Those persons have to go class after them left work, Zine, are doing work. I don't know how them do, but mostly after work, then come school, tired, go back home, they don't have time for study. Like they never have a time for revise. So what was the secret for those first class with them people? What them do is when them go in a class, for the days them when them not extra tired, them attentive and them that chilly tutor lecturer with question. You know, move. Me no business. You get question till a week. Because guess what? Me not gonna have the time for really read back like the student. I say, oh, I'm go home and deal with that. Yeah, me can't get to them. No, them kill them with question. See? And then on the weekends, seeing them really put in some work over the weekend, put in the work. So students, when they really work, trust me, I take up a time. Me have a friend where after him girlfriend did I take up for him time. Me have another girlfriend or fear boyfriend I take up for them time. But guess what? You have to manage the thing, people. You know, no time for that. They got that man and focus. See? So that's it. I'm really again proud of the people in my work and go through school because when they make it, a lot of people rejoice. So keep up the great work.
All right, thank you so much. There's another question here from Shamil Sutherland and on YouTube. Are there any tips on mastering MCQs other than the typical eliminate the foolish answer because these days the game changed, meaning the answers are so close that you second guess yourself?
That's what Etel. Etel was the multiple. Les, there you go, Etel.
I want to tell them, say them in a trouble. Yo, you know, honestly, number one, me dislike multiple choice. First of all, never really like exam, never believe in an exams to that. Me more believe in, you know, group project, hands-on, because that tests your knowledge. But with a multiple choice now, like, how me do that? That elimination type of vibe, it no work like this, it no work. Somehow, me study keenly, preparing for a paper one like a MCQ, you have to be very keen. You have to, I don't know. Normally, them have some practice questions, some circling around. You have people, you know, people have information. Them are circle. Find them and practice them and say what them could have asked on this. People have a billion network. You can't do it alone. You're not going to survive alone. You're in trouble. You see? So you build a network, get those things going and practice. I have to definitely like keen in your reading because them pick up the simplest thing them and drop it in an MCQ and then in trouble. So that's my
I'm going to pinch Etel, you know. Gentle people. Etel. Somebody dropped it in the chat here. The people, remember I touched on it earlier. As much as Etel is right? The focus when it comes to exams, guys, I want you to kind of eliminate that. Your focus here should be on learning and understanding the material as best as you can. The best way I can put it, imagine you are, in Etel's case, you are now tutoring students, you are now lecturing, or you're sitting down in an interview with Deion Jackson Miller or Cliff Hughes. You see, by the time you reach end of semester examination, you want to be able to sit down in that seat and you should be able to answer questions from any direction, right? That's the goal. You want to be able to answer anyhow them put it, That's the grasp you want to have of it. So however the question is posed, however they put it, no matter what kind of trick question they're going to have there, you want to have a grasp of the material in any way, shape, or form that you're going to be like, oh, I don't know what they're trying to put here, but this, I'm confident in this answer. Whether or not this is going to be multiple choice, short answer. As a matter of fact, you're going to be like, but I can write an essay on this. Why don't we make this a multiple choice, please? You understand? Why they're going to want to, I want to just do a presentation on it. You want to be so confident in the material, people, right? That it is not a question about, oh my God, I'm pressured about the exam. Yes, exam anxiety is real. I had it too, I still do, right? But try as best as you can to not focus so much on the exam, but on grasping the content as best as you can, so that when the lecturer comes, you're not even sitting down and waiting on the information from the lecturer. You're going to go to the lectures and the tutorials, and you're going to be like, but sir, I think, miss, I think, doctor, whoever, prophet, and you are going to have a conversation with them. You're going to engage in the conversation because you now have an understanding based on whatever reading you would have done, whatever YouTube videos you would have played, whatever news you would have read. You are now a part of the conversation because that's what we're about. You understand? We are a place of higher learning here. You have produced many researchers and you could be one of them. Even if you don't want to be fast, be enough and say, I don't necessarily believe what you're saying. I would like to contribute to the lecture room. That's where we're about. That you are now not just a recipient, you are a contributor. This is where we're at. We're engaging in a higher space of learning, gentle people. Forget the exam and let's move to learning. I don't mean just forget it like that. I get that it's important, but don't put the pressure of the exam on yourself. Exams come and go. The transcript, people, I said it again, people graduate with second class honors and first class honors and still cannot perform. Will you be able to perform when you have graduated? If you graduate, suppose you decide to drop out, you still should be able to have used the information you would have garnered here. Hello, please, because students decide to switch, and that's fine. Suppose you don't want to do marketing anymore and you want to get up and start your business, that's fine. You know, we want you to graduate with the degree, but that's a personal decision. You still should be able to say the information you learned here at the University of the West Indies, Mona campus, is information that you can utilize wherever you go, but still graduate with a degree here, please and thank you. And that's it from me. Go ahead, Gabrielle.
Thank you so much. Now we'll be having questions from students. If you are unable to open your mic, you're allowed to post a question in the chat. I will ask the questions for you. So please feel free to participate. We have a question here from Ivan Acosta. Please go ahead, your hand is raised.
Yes, good night. I just want to comment on based on certain things that I observed while coming here to Jamaica as a student. No, what I observe is that a lot of the lecturers here, yes, they might have doctorate degree and professors and this and whatever, but they just don't have the skill to deliver the material, and that is what I always have a problem with. Right? You could be a doctorate, have a doctorate degree with A class, whatever. That does not mean that you have the skill to deliver a course, right? And that is what I notice here at UA. The other thing I observe is that the semester is basically 12 or 13 weeks, right? And then they load you up with an amount of material to cover within a short period of time. No? After week 1, you try to learn something. Week 2, everything fly past you, and then you have an amount of subject that you need to take, 6, 7 in case of engineering. You must take them or else you're left behind. You can't say, oh, I will take 3 this year, 3 this semester, and 3 next year. No, that doesn't work like that. The moment you don't take that 6 or 7, look forward to our next 1 or 2 years paying another 10,000 US to UWI, you know. So that's just my, and with engineering, you can't swap. So, you know, so that's just my 2 cents for that. But I think the university itself need to do better in terms of the type of lecturers they have for certain courses.
Thanks for that, Ivan. I see the students agreeing with you, and I can certainly say that you are not alone, as you can see. Students have said that to me as well. I think that's also why a big push of mine is encouraging students to share and advocate for feedback, you know, from lecturers. If you have a concern, please, unless it's a situation where you have shared said concerns and nothing has been done, then we need to go to a different level. Right? Please let them know your concerns. I don't know what year you're in, you know, but absolutely
I'm in second year.
You're in second year.
And whenever I have issue, I always bring it up for those who know me, you know.
And I know. Say that part again. You're in second year, and when what?
Whenever I have issue, I always bring it up and I let them know. So,
okay.
But I guess that's just the culture of the university itself, because there's a lot of things that I don't agree with in terms of the operation of this university, right? Mm-hmm. But I guess that's just how the system operates.
No. I'm going to just stop right there. That's not how it should operate. That's not how it should operate. You know, but certainly, as I said it earlier, there are processes involved, there are course representatives, you have administrators in your faculty. I think you're Ivan, you are in engineering, if I remember correctly. You're the one who said you're in engineering, right?
Yes.
Yes, man. You get in when you say your report, right? When I should share my number now. Let me give you can WhatsApp me on this number, 876-371-2047. And we can talk about
Hold on, my internet went off just now. I didn't hear what you were saying.
Oh, I was sharing. I dropped my number in the chat for you. So we can talk if anything. So I was sharing that 876-371-2047. You can WhatsApp me there, right? But certainly there are involved. And if you're not getting any help there, we can see how we can assist you with that. All right. See, Anwar is saying what it's his questionnaire at the end of the year.
Okay.
All right, so we shouldn't be having that, right? I know that we're having challenges and some processes would be delayed, but it shouldn't be a situation where you're not hearing anything. All right, that's why we have systems in place. All right, Anwar, which faculty are you in, if you don't mind? Are you an engineering student?
Okay.
Thanks for sharing that, Ivan. I appreciate you letting us.
Welcome.
All right, what is this now? Gabriel, go ahead. I'm just reading through the chat.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Okay, I have another question here. What are some effective ways that I can maintain my health when I sometimes get overwhelmed with schoolwork and tests?
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah. Sorry, I got distracted by the chat. Ask again. Forgive me. Focus again.
What are some effective ways I can maintain my health when sometimes I get overwhelmed with schoolwork and tests?
When you get overwhelmed with schoolwork, again with the self-management. Gentle people, I cannot say this enough. You see how Etel said it? He mash up himself and all of that. We're not about mashing up ourselves. I completely get that when it will come on to academics, and Ivan touched on it, short amount of time, whole heap of content. The quality of your degree, your grades do not matter if you are not here to benefit from your grades and your degree. Please and thank you. I know it may not sound realistic. I know you want to say, oh, I want to, yeah, all of that is great, but you are human beings and you need to take care of yourself. So, and when we're talking about health, I know people are like, oh, I'm talking physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially, probably financially as well, Etel, with the economics, you understand? All of the different life areas that matter to you as an individual, all of those need to be covered as best as they can in order for you to function in all other areas, academically, personally. So it's important for you to get a handle as best as you can, while also trying to nurture yourself as a student, as a professional, as a mother, as a husband, as a boyfriend, as a girlfriend. As I said, we are not just students. I am not just an administrator. You are not just a daughter or a son. So we need to be realistic about the fact that we have a number of things going on. Self-management is a very big deal. So if some days you need to key in on yourself and be like, all right, I'm being self-aware. Right now I'm exhausted. I need to lie down for an extra hour or two. That's fine. If I need to reach out for some support and probably contact the counseling unit or contact somebody outside of the counseling unit for some assistance, I'm going to do that. Who is it that you need to reach out to for support? If you don't know, ask. Well, again, I'll point out myself. If you don't know, find somebody who you think can refer you to someone else. You are not alone in the struggle. The university has certainly done its best. I can speak for myself in terms of trying to find support systems for you, especially where your health is concerned. All right, so don't feel like you're alone in that regard. The Commuting Students Office has been doing a number of initiatives as well. All right, so please do whatever you need to do as best you can to get the assistance that you need. All right, self-management is key there. Your turn again, Gabriel.
Thank you so much. I'm not seeing any more questions except this one question here. I'm not sure if you're going to respond here or in the chat from Chrisanne Buchanan. She's asking, she's asking if there's someone I can contact regarding my double major. She would hate to stay fourth year at UWI. I'm not sure if you want to respond here.
Regarding your double major, I don't understand what, I would need to know a little bit more information on that one, Chrisanne.
Yeah, like, as in what? You want to switch to a double major, you're doing a double major, you want to switch. Give us some more context. But normally with those double major, you contact the faculty office. I'm doing a double major. Okay, all right. So what is the question in terms of course advice, what to study, what you should do?
Okay, good night, everyone. I hope you're hearing me. My connection is a bit poor.
Night,
are you hearing me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, so I just wanted to know who I could contact to make sure I'm doing all the right courses and so on, because I know that a double major can be tricky and I don't want to stay at UWI fourth year and all of a sudden I don't want to know that, I have extra courses to do and all that. So yeah, I would just essentially contact the faculty, you're saying?
Okay, yeah, so normally you were supposed to, you guys can remind me, because this is generally a thing you're supposed to do, seek academic guidance from the faculty office. They normally have this booklet, and you go to them and they would show you about how it's online now. They're accepting people face to face. I don't know, the system changed.
Hold on. So I know for the Faculty of Social Sciences, it's online for the most part. If you go to the Mona website, Faculty of Social Sciences has quite a bit of information online. Chrisanne, what faculty you're in? Yeah, you can do course checks yourself. If you want, you should be able to contact your departments. Most departments don't have a WhatsApp contact. If not, the faculty offices have WhatsApp contacts. So Chrisanne, you're still with us? What faculty are you a part of?
Oh, I'm in social sciences.
Yeah, then let me give you the faculty number right now. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds. FSS. So that would be it. Well, hear me like a quiz person. That is ETEL Business, 3950170. That's the Faculty of Social Sciences contact there that I just dropped. Right, you can get them there. Right, WhatsApp them there, and they should be able. They will guide you further. Right.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. That's you.
Okay, there being no other questions, I'm not seeing any more questions. This will be the end of our discussion segment or Q&A segment. I would just like to thank you both, Ms. Janelle Morgan and Mr. Ethel Williams. I would just like to thank you both for taking the time out of your busy schedules for coming here today. I know personally, as a student, I learned so much this evening about studying, and I will definitely be applying these tips to my studying going forward. And I just want to say thank you so much. I know I see in the chat persons are very appreciative, and thank you so much once more. We'll now be going into our performance segment where we'll be having Mr. Kevin Davey and Miss Novian Davey. Mr. Kevin Davey is currently studying electrical engineering at UTech, and Miss Novian Davey is a UE molecular biology graduate. They will be coming now, and yes, they are siblings if you're wondering, and so please welcome them.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can fight the fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out and move mountains. We gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you. When the silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe, and I know you'll feel rise up, high like the waves. We'll rise up in spite of the ache. We'll rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you.
Woo! That was awesome. Thank you guys so much for your lovely performance. I know I wasn't the only one bopping my head to that and singing along. Thank you so very much. That was wonderful. I wish I could sing like that and play like that. Okay, I will now have McCoy Morrison come and do the vote of thanks. And just before that is done, I would just like to ask Miss Morgan and Mr. Williams one last time. A few persons inboxed me. Could you please just post your contacts, your Instagram, phone numbers in the chat, because persons are asking ways in which they can reach out to you guys. Thank you so much. McCoy Morrison, my apologies, over to you.
Hi, good night, everyone. So I would just like to thank Miss Janelle Morgan and Intel Williams for such a great program today. There was a lot of things that I think we all took as key thing as it relates to study styles, preparing our times so that we're balanced and just really focusing on getting to the goal, which is the degree, and not really worrying about the quality, rather putting our best foot forward to actually grasp some of the concepts and learn things. So I'm really appreciative of it, of the performance we had earlier. I was really singing along to the song as well. And Miss Gabrielle for, just running the show behind the scenes. It was a great session. Thank you guys so much for coming out and doing such a good session today.
Bless me, Claudia, great thing.
Thank you so much as well.
Thank you very much. And thank you to the students as well for coming out and for supporting this initiative. The last thing on our agenda for tonight will be the closing remarks, which will be done by Angelique James. The floor is over to you. And that will be all from me for this evening. Thank you guys so much again for coming.
Okay, thank you everyone who participated tonight. Thank you, Gabrielle. I know you're a bit nervous, but you did great. I just want to give you an applause for myself. Etel, I'm honestly thinking to you. Miss Morgan, thank you as always. Thank you for always willing and for participating. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you everyone who participated and made tonight a good event. Like, trust me guys, thank you. I was engaged throughout the whole session and I'm sure it wasn't just me. Unfortunately, this is our last session for this semester, as we want to give you guys the opportunity to go and study and actually implement these tips and tricks that you got tonight. So I'll see you guys next semester and good luck.
All the best on exams, guys. Bye. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.